So you may be trying to figure out exactly what type of Medicare health plan you're going to be choosing when turning 65, coming off an employer plan, or maybe you're looking to change plans and you're in your 70s and you're really confused about the different options. One of the main things I want to be able to cover with you in this video is why the 5 major reasons a lot of people are converting or merging into Medicare Advantage plans and exactly the reason behind that. Stick around, we'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so let me recap exactly just the last 2 videos. We've covered extra benefits, which are dental, hearing, vision, over-the-counter benefits, and gym memberships. Those are really the 5 core Medicare Advantage extra benefits that most Medicare Advantage plans have. That is not an absolute statement. That is just, in general, the plans that we enroll people in the different markets that we market into, which is well over 15 states. That typically is kind of the baseline for extra benefits. Those plans are part of the plan. They don't cost any additional premium. If you have original Medicare and a Medicare supplement, you're picking up dental, hearing, and vision, or a gym membership. You could have out-of-pocket costs of $97 to about $160 on average. That's the average premium cost calculated that I shared earlier in the first video. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the overall cost for your insurance, as opposed to looking at your predictable costs that we talked about in the second video, which means you get all the Part A and Part B coverage of the Medicare Advantage plan at a 0 cost, plus the extra benefits, plus the ability to know that your max out-of-pocket, your MOOP, is only going to be up to that dollar amount. And the average max out-of-pocket that we see ranges from about $3,000 to $5,500 a year, and that's your max out-of-pocket for medical and hospitalization. Your Part A, Part B services go towards your max, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind. A baseline is 0 because it's 0 premium. If you don't use the plan all year, you have no cost out of pocket. If you use the plan, you're gonna have fixed low income or low copay costs or co-insurance costs. Typically for most Part B services, those are gonna be like going to the doctor, specialist, accessing diagnostics, MRIs, CAT scans, things like that. That's going to be like 0 up to usually about $250 copay for even high imaging diagnostics, outpatient surgeries. You go get a laparoscopic knee surgery done, a lot of times from most of the plans from $150 to about $300. So it's a very low cost way to have incredible coverage. There are some what I call golden handcuffs. There are networks that you're dealing with HMO and PPO, the different types of HMOs, the different types of PPO plans. We have videos talking about the context of how those plans work and what's best for you. And really it all comes down to the agent you're working with and their ability and skill to listen to you, to understand your problems, to provide a solution or a guide toward plans that provide you the solution that you're looking for. I always say there's no perfect option. There's nothing perfect. Original Medicare is not perfect. I just got out of a doctor's office that refers clients to us last week. They have been having billing issues with original Medicare. Original Medicare is still kicking back bills, the full 100% bill, to the Medicare beneficiary that's gone out to have a procedure done or come to the doctor's office. They're calling the doctor and saying, hey, my Medicare didn't pick up, and so my Medicare supplement's not picking up, or my Medicare's not picking up, so my retirement insurance. In Tennessee, UMR is a state retirement coverage service, and their UMR is not picking up because Medicare's not picking up. So it's kicking out this bill back to them. It's several $100s or several thousands of dollars, and they're asking the doctor why. Well, they're on original Medicare. So a lot of times you'll listen to videos like this, and they're like, hey, if you have original Medicare, it's like gold, and anything's not gonna happen if you're on original Medicare or Medicare supplement. And that's just not the case. Where there's people, there's problems. If you're dealing with people with original Medicare or Medicare Advantage, prescription drug plans, with us, anybody can make a mistake. So the responsible way to get what's best for you is to really have somebody that's educated and reviews your plan options with you, educate you on how all the different plans work. And that's really what our agency is all about. We're all about educating you through the process of what we like to say, making your life easy by making Medicare simple. So simplifying the process, making sure you're aware of the processes, the different health plan options, what's best for you. And the great thing is, we've seen husband and wives. Sometimes a husband wants a Medicare Advantage plan, and the wife says, I don't want that, I want a Medicare supplement. And we have husband and wives that are on the same Medicare supplement, with the same carrier, same thing with Medicare Advantage. So you as an individual, you have your individual choice of your health plan option. When you retire, when you're married, when you're not married, you actually are looked at as a person with Medicare, that Medicare allows you to make an informed decision that's based on your needs. So that's really where we guide you through that process, and we'd love to be able to help you with that. Now let's dive into the third part of this 5 reasons why Medicare Advantage plans are gaining popularity. And one of the major things is in a sense, gaps in coverage. So one of the gaps in coverage with Medicare Advantage plans is hospitalization copay. If I go to the hospital, I'm paying $300 a day on my plan up to 5 days, maybe 7 days. So if you stay in the hospital, you have open heart surgery, they keep you in there for say 5 days or longer, and your plan is $300 a day, day 1 through 5, you're going to pay $1,500 and then no additional cost. So it doesn't matter if the surgeons, the doctors, the whatever goes on in the hospital, anything associated and activity that goes on during that hospital stay, is covered under the Medicare Advantage plan copay per day up to 5 days. Beyond 5 days, there's no additional cost. And I won't get into the extended amount of time that is, but typically within a year, original Medicare covers up to a year, but you have lifetime days, and benefit days and cycle days and things like that. We won't cover that. We cover that in our Medicare Made Simple webinar, so you can register for that below and get a copy of a guidebook and a complete guide all the way through original Medicare, Part A and Part B, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplements, and how all the entrails of Medicare works. And we'll cover the long extended days, lifetime reserve days and things like that with you. To simplify this though, you stay 5 days, you get out, there's a $275,000 bill from the hospital that goes to the insurance pays the hospital, and all you're responsible for paying is 5 days times $300, because that's, in quote, your Medicare Advantage carrier copay per day. So that is your risk there. So if you went to the hospital 3 times in a year and did that, you'd pay $4,500 out of your pocket. That can be kind of a high risk potential for you. So a lot of people choose this third part of why a lot of people or Medicare Advantage plans are gaining popularity. They can pick up an ancillary product. And there's several different carriers, and I won't mention the one that we typically use, but there's several different carriers out there. We use a quote system and look at the plan options and choose which one's best for the client. But a Medicare Hospital Indemnity plan will actually pay you. You can select that plan to pay you a cost per day. Let's say you choose $300 a day. You can choose day 1 through 2, 1 through 3, 1 through 5. We usually cover the average of what's been average for the last 10 years in the market the person's in. So usually up to 6 days is a good average. So that means if they stayed 5 days, that insurance policy would pay that person. It's an ancillary policy. It means it pays to the person, or if that person hands their ancillary card to the hospital, they can have the hospital get paid by the insurer. Now, insurance company, we typically say get the money so you have control over the cash is king, and have control of that money so you can control where you want to pay them and when you pay them and the expense and stuff that you're working out with them. But that $1,500 that's owed, you would have $300 a day, day 1 through 5, paid by the ancillary product to you to pay for the copay. So there's really zero risk. There's very low premium, typically anywhere from about $20 to $30 a month to have insurance that's going to cover that hospital stay. So the hospital indemnity is huge. The second biggest part of Medicare Advantage plans that have extraordinary or extremely high cost associated with it is chemotherapy Part B drugs. So Medicare Advantage plans under Part B drugs have a billable rate of 0 to 20%. All chemotherapy drugs are billed typically at 20%. Not everyone, but almost all of them are going to be billed at 20%. So let's just keep in mind and treat it as if you get chemo and you're on a chemo drug, you're going to be billed 20%. When you go get a chemo treatment and it's $4,000, 20% of $4,000 is $800. So $800 into your max, and if your max is $4,000, it doesn't take very long to hit your max. And chemo treatments can be prolonged and go on for weeks, for months, it can go on a long time. And so that is probably the highest risk area. And so you can actually do a hospital indemnity with a cancer rider, and the cancer rider can pay up to the max out of pocket. So we typically choose $7,500 because that kind of covers the max out of pocket for most Medicare Advantage plans. It actually gives them more because the max around here, the average is probably about $5,500. So they actually have about $2,000 of cushion that covers like traveling costs, food costs, family coming into town, whatever it may be. But that insurance rider, that cancer policy actually pays out to the beneficiary, and the beneficiary then has the ability to pay the copay or the co-insurance cost of the Medicare Advantage. Basically, they're insuring for anywhere from about $40 to $60 a month. They're ensuring their two highest liable risk areas with the Medicare Advantage plan. So what's so great about the ancillary product as well is their premiums don't increase. A Medicare supplement plan, a plan F, plan G, plan N, any of the different letters for a Medicare supplement, the premium's going to increase annually. You're going to have an annual rate increase or a birth date increase, or could have both depending on the carrier, but typically a birth date increase. So every year your premium's going up and it's going up, and as you age, you go up. And if you have health difficulties and you're wanting to reinsure with a different carrier to lower your premiums, and you've had health risk and health situations, and you're not healthy, you can't underwrite for a new carrier. So a Medicare Advantage plan, you can choose and change your Medicare Advantage plan every year. And then if you own an ancillary product, that ancillary product just comes along beside and works with any Medicare Advantage plan that you're enrolled into. And it's an excellent way for a very low cost premium. Those premiums on those plans, normally, I will not say an absolute, but most of all of our clients that we've ever enrolled into an ancillary has never had a premium increase. One carrier we've used for 15 years has had one premium increase in 15 years, and they had that across the board at the beginning of the year, and they blanketed a little bit of a scheduled increase from their cost for their products. Otherwise, you enroll into the plan, you have the premium, you pay it, and the plan performs. They're very easy to use. We explain those products when we're enrolling somebody or educating those during the enrollment process when we're guiding somebody through. So, in just a second, I'm going to be covering something else that's very important with Medicare Advantage plan, and that's the focus on preventative care and how that works. Be back in just a few, and if you have any questions, reach out to us. We'd love to be able to answer any questions that you may have up to this point. Talk to you soon.